Welcome back to another live stream. Is Chris Bagnell and I today? We're going to be doing every 2 weeks, every Sunday in the morning for us here in the United States, afternoon for European audience. Oh, hold on, I need to mute my other screen here. Anyways, every Sunday we'll be doing a live stream. Every other Sunday, so every 2 weeks, we'll be doing a live stream dedicated particularly to Crankk. We're going to do the updates, everything you need to know, developments, and we'll cover any questions that you have from the audience. So we're going to be doing this on Chris Bagnell's stream going forward. We'll probably do one more on both channels, but I recommend that you go to Chris Bagnell's channel and you watch from there. That's where the main discussion is going to take place. Be sure to subscribe, like, hit the notification bell so you're always alerted. We'll also be doing other live streams like this regularly to cover other projects. So, as I said, be sure to subscribe. Chris, you want to show that discount code where you save $5 on your Crankk purchase?
Yeah, so it's actually in the description below my video if you guys want to check that out. It should be a direct link as well as the code. I believe it's like L underscore or I underscore Chris.
Is that all
and you guys
caps?
can use that. It's all lowercase except for the I. The I is uppercase.
I is uppercase underscore Chris.
Maybe I should change it to make it easier. Maybe I should just make it all caps.
Right.
But yeah,
but
you guys can check that out. Get it $5 off your Crankk license. No limits. You can buy 1,000 licenses and use that code.
Do it. Yeah, so I'm very excited. It's been a little while since we did a live stream like this, but hey, it's we're going back into the bull run, it seems. I don't knock on wood here, but now it's time to really cook. So we got to keep the community engaged. We're going to see a lot more inflow of new members, and I appreciate everyone who's stayed with us up to this point, watched all of our content. We put a lot of content out there to help try to educate our real core community, and I see you guys are on there whooping it on every day in the Discord and in the Telegram, answering the questions of newcomers and helping them become educated and engaged. And that is really what this is all about for us. I really put a lot of time and effort into this, as does Chris, to bring you all accurate information. And then you take that and multiply it, get it out to the community. And it's very much appreciated. So I want to give kudos, a big thank you to all of our community. So, of course, there's been some serious developments in these last couple weeks, a lot with Crankk, and the team has been working very hard to optimize the system. And there's been a few small road bumps, but this has all been scoped out and overcome fairly easily. So we'll start off with the first one that I want everyone to understand. And these are all announcements that you can look at in the Discord. So if you maybe don't understand all that's been said in this video, be sure to look at the announcements in the Discord and ask in the community chat. But the first one, I'm going to share my screen here. It's going to become mandatory to assert your gateway's location. Now, this is not like other systems that you're used to where it costs $15 in fees. It's simply you go to your gateway, give it a moment to load, but it's going to be on the lower left. Try not to dox myself too hard there. And I'm going, and here in location, well, I have to unlock my wallet. And I can simply go to change location and drag on the map to where you'd like to place it. And you hit submit. Just hit submit once and wait. It's going to take a moment. It's like a fraction of a cent to assert your location. So you can change this however you like. It's not going to cost you a whole lot, but that will become mandatory for the Crankk rank. And the Crankk rank is working fairly well right now. Some other stuff here. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen there, but be sure to assert your locations. The beacons every 6 hours. You may have noticed that your gateways are now beaconing every 6 hours rather than 4 before, where the reason for this is because there's a lot of congestion on chain 0, both because of the P2P decks and because of how frequent all these gateways are creating transactions. And of course, other projects, they're not as significant as Crankk, but those ones also do cause that congestion. Everyone wants to develop on chain zero, right? So the beacons have been reduced to every 6 hours. You're still going to earn the same amount that you would otherwise. It's more like that daily reward is now divided up 4 times rather than 6 times, right? So you're going to earn more or every 6 hours than every 4 hours, but in the every 24 hours it's the same amount. You're saving more on gas fees. The chain is less congested. And part of the reason for this was because the consensus nodes, the gas fees were getting pretty high for them. And because of the amount that it costs of Cadena right now, it's really had a jump in price. It's just breaking even when it came to profit. If you were to look at it from a fiat standpoint, you know how much Crankk you're earning versus how much Cadena you're spending. So because this is happening less and the gas fees are going down, and the rewards are more every 6 hours. You're burning less gas. The rewards are the same every 24 hours, right? But because you're burning less gas, they're now profitable again. And gas fees on Cadena, they're going down because there's not as many transactions. The blocks aren't as big. The proof of work nodes don't have to process as much. With that being said, there has been another change as well. Going forward, you'll have to purchase your licenses on Chain 19. And this has also been announced. And Chain 19 has been opened up. We are almost to mainnet, but it doesn't change anything. You may have also noticed when you create a wallet, you receive a small amount of Cadena in that wallet, a very minute amount. And that's for the cross-chain transactions. So as we've discussed before, if I'm sending Cadena from chain 0 to chain 19 or chain 0 to any other chain, then I have to pay gas from both wallets. If you're sending it from chain 0 or chain 5 to chain 5, it's just paying gas from the sending wallet, but cross chain both wallets. So that allows you to just easily send that Cadena to your wallet, and you already have the gas when you're initially sending that Cadena to the wallet on chain 19. So that really expedites the process for the community. Of course, Peter and Milen, they've been doing everything they can to make this onboarding process as easy as possible, but there's a lot of technicalities here. This is more of a do-it-yourself type of thing, so it remains open source and community driven rather than a closed already developed solution that's it's not as seamless to onboard, but you have a lot more options, a lot more bells and whistles, and they try to make those options much easier for the community along the way for those who maybe aren't so much do it yourself. They want to come into crypto but they don't want to be hassled, so they've been working on providing both those paths to the community. So
Yeah,
go ahead. What we're
I
going to say?
wanted to add that they're also constantly trying to add support for new devices onto their network. Just recently, they just asked about adding like 10 or 15 devices they actually need to get their hands on so they can add support for them. And they're just all of this work they're doing, it's going to help the ecosystem. On top of that, when you have Crankk flash image installed on these devices, you can dual mine on Helium. Um, like that's great. You don't get to just convert your device and lose the capabilities that you had before. You're pretty much doubling the possibilities for revenue on these devices. I know Helium IoT really dropped the ball and like you don't make much at all anymore, but it's better than losing that ability altogether.
Yeah. Well, they also, since you brought up the subject, there is a new multiplexer solution in place that was custom developed to be as fast as possible that allows you to dual mine, where previously we've seen that because of um, the packet forwarder solution, it wasn't as fast in those, maybe 50 milliseconds to 150 milliseconds, depending on the type of gateway you have. That made a difference in your IoT earnings. So, of course, with the Crankk OS, they're optimizing it at the OS level for everything to be faster. It's not using as much compute power, so that compute power will be there when you need to get those transactions submitted quickly. And they customize the multiplexer to work more at a low level code, which will be much faster, much leaner. And in many of the cases, the gateway, don't tell anyone, but this multiplexer is faster than uh, some of the manufacturers multiplexers that are integrating with the helium solution. So yeah, it's great. You know, I've seen a couple people rage quit from the other project, and they're like, "We're onboarding Crankk," and oh, the hysteria. But we'll get into that a little bit later. But as I said, the chain 19. Your gateways will now be on chain 19. It's going to work same as before. We'll do a deep dive in a future video. And yeah, it's once all the chains are opened up, which should be fairly soon within the coming months, once we see what roadblocks, what bumps in the road appear that need to be, flattened out and ironed out. Once we figure out how to any issues that may occur, then the rest of the chains will be open up. The project then officially becomes mainnet. Now, the significance in that is now the Crankk token that will be on all 20 chains. So chain 19, chain 0 to chain 19. And that now opens up Crankk token on the Cadena dexes. The significance in that is now there is more of a market. There's more, the Crankk is circulating through the Cadena economy much more significantly. So we'll see some, I would expect, I'm not saying this, of course, as a matter of fact, but based on my experience, based on what I think would happen, we may see some nice price action when that takes place. I'm very excited about that. And uh, the other significance, I guess, rolling into the next topic is we've seen some changes on the P2P decks offered by Crankk. The change there was a minimum amount for the trading. And really, that is because there are some people just spamming trades and causing, like, the DEX is on chain 0 as well. That has a lot of transactions going through at any given time. And there's somewhat complex transactions for processing on a proof of work chain. That so there's a minimum amount that you have to exchange so people can't spam it, and that should help with the gas fees. That should help with how long it takes to fill your orders, so the trade should be faster. There is a from my point of view, and this is one of the things I recommended, there's some people who are like total Crankk haters out there, and they've bought into this project specifically to see if they can game it and to see what type of malicious things that they could do. So one of the things I was noticing, and one of the recommendations I made behind this, as in addition to what Peter and Milen were seeing from the they were seeing it from the gas price and um, the transaction time point of view. I told them, look, people are trying to fill up this order book with small transactions, so they would try to purposely drive the price down with small transactions because it's a psychological thing. And although it was minimal, like, it still kind of works. So now they actually have to spend money and lose money for these few, malicious actors to drive the price down. So I'm very happy with that. And I know that's been brought up from some of the community. They are concerned about the price as it stands. And yes, that's always something that, we can't say that we have to ignore it. Like some of these other projects are like, I don't care about the crypto price. That means that's not the utility. Well, that's like wishful thinking in the crypto space, that you can just ignore that, because that's the catalyst behind your entire ecosystem and the infrastructure on your network, the work that's being done. So when I hear that kind of stuff from others, I'm like, really, do you understand what you're saying? But I have to kind of straddle that line of, some people equivocate or what would you say? They compare it to the price of like how a stock works. In crypto, it's not like a stock. People who are newcomers to crypto, they feel that the price of the crypto token signifies the the value that others place on it, or um, the confidence that the holders have in that specific project. I would argue that's not so much the case. If you've been in crypto for at least one cycle, 4 years or more, you see that they're unexplainable jumps and falls in price. And this
Yep.
is much of this is cyclical. And as we approach what we believe to be the bull run, I don't want to get my hopes up on that yet. There's still some time away, but we're really out of the gate pretty early. So if it continues like this, I would call this a super cycle, and this might be the last. Not financial advice, as always. You should always consult with a trusted professional before acting on any of the information that you may hear in these videos. But, Chris, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, actually, believe it or not, even with the all-time high we're hitting with Bitcoin, and we're getting close on some other coins, the major top 100 or whatever you might want to call it, we're still not at the global market cap that we were at the peak of the last bull run, which to me indicates that we still got a lot of room to grow. If you look at the previous bull runs, it's usually a 2 or 3x the previous bull run before that. So I think there's still a lot of room to grow. And specifically with Cadena, like, we're not on a lot of exchanges yet. As soon as Cadena gets listed on exchanges, then all of the assets on Cadena will have easier onboarding onto these exchanges. And I think once that starts to happen, we're going to start to see Crankk as a project as a whole, as well as Cadena, start to really pick up some momentum.
Yeah, I am seeing a couple comments in the section. Not gonna lie, price is important reflection. Most of the time, if you don't care about the token, you'll uh I believe you mean turn out like Planet Watch and MXC. And yes, point taken. I am mostly on board with you guys, but some of the complaining that I see from the community about price, and when the price jumps for any project, the creators are geniuses, and when it goes down, they're idiots. But every single project is following the same trajectory, just about. Most of the crypto prices, even all the meme coins and all the turd coins, they're jumping and falling at the same rate as most. Let's be honest. And I know I'm gonna get some well, the 50% of these, blah blah blah. Okay, you get my point. You know what I mean. So I'm with you guys on that. I believe the I get these nice comments from people, and when they're funny, I do lose my train of thought. So I always appreciate my trolls. What was I gonna say here?
We did get some other questions if you want to talk about
Yeah,
those in
let's
the
let's
comment
talk about
section.
them.
So we were talking about the chain 19 or chain, what was it? Chain 19. And 100 Air asks if we have to move to chain 19 or stay put. And I think what he means by that is, do we have to move everything we have over to chain 19?
Oh, if you're on
No.
chain zero, you're on chain zero.
Yep.
The P2P DEX will still be on chain zero. Um, if you're onboarding new devices, they will be on chain 19, and the operation is seamless. The consensus nodes, they'll stay on chain 19 for the foreseeable future. And yeah, that's there's another question here. Any plans for adding more projects for more than just dual mining? Yes, very much so. There's actually some custom solutions coming out for many of the deepen projects and many of the other passive earning projects. They'll allow the Crank OS just to be, we call it a containerized solution. What I would describe it to my audiences is really a click and provision solution. So some of these other ones, Get Grass. Uh, I know there's been talk about Chia. There's things IX. I'm sure there's many I'm forgetting, but yeah, a total like just click and go solution makes it easy. So the point that Milan always tries to stipulate is that this is a community-based type of project. It's for the community. It's not just about the Crankk project, but he truly believes, and Peter truly believes, that if we do what's best by the community, they'll be loyal, they'll stick by us and continue to support the project. But yes, we want to see people learn. That's what it comes down to. We want to see people do their absolute best when it comes to earning and we want to see them happy with their devices, their solution. And this is not like some closed source, hey, once you onboard to this network, you can't do anything else. That's not the style, and I can very much appreciate it.
Yeah, something that just doesn't make sense to me is the fact that like new projects will come out and they make you buy the proprietary device when it is the same content, it's the same hardware. So that's why I like Crank. They're not making you buy a new device. They're working on what they have, providing a solution so that many people can have multiple projects on one device. It's the best case for the project as well, because if you really are in it for the project, like, and the data that you are trying to collect, why are you so focused on hardware sales? And that's why Crank is different than the other ones. They're focusing on actually getting data and making it useful.
Agreed. So, some other um, topics that I want to get through here. The main wallet. This is something that's been out for a couple months now, but the main wallet is where you're going to do most of the, I guess you would call it maintenance work. But that's not one that you want to assign a gateway to. You don't want to buy a license to the main wallet. So if you're just now setting up your Crank dashboard, you're going to create two wallets minimum. One, you're going to assign your main wallet. Like if you're doing affiliate type of stuff, that's where your earnings would go to. There is going to be some significance, I believe. Now, this is not official, but I believe based on some of the talk I'm hearing, that's going to be part of like the voting system that they are working on, the governance system, which the ideas that I've heard thus far, they've all been substantial and they've all been very interesting, but in a good way. They've all I'm happy with all of them. It's almost kind of hard to be like, you know, we're going to go with this one because there's a lot of thought that's been put into this. There's a lot of experience here with the entirety of the team. So, this has been a little bit of a slow roll. I mean, nobody can deny it's not happening as fast as everyone wants it to, but it's also been very steady and there have been no major issues up to this point. So I couldn't be happier. As long as they're producing on their promises, which they are. And I'll tell you, one thing that I love about Milan is that he's on there listening to people's to the recommendations and their grievances every day. And he'll listen to the trolls and even try to speak with them and be reasonable about it. I mean, sometimes I hear it from him. I can sense the frustration, but he makes an effort to hear what people have to say and to address it and take it all into consideration. And he has a big, long list of all the stuff that he's looking at. Much of it is coming from the community. So props to him, kudos to him and Peter. But there is, I think we already mentioned the campaign for the do-it-yourself devices. So we'll
Yeah.
briefly touch on that again. There was an announcement, I believe it was today, where for the community, for people who are developers or tinkers, the do-it-yourself types, there's a list of known LoRaWAN gateways that they do need to integrate into the system. So Crankk, it's not like, oh, we're only going to use the supported manufacturers that the other project used, or they're trying to, yeah, they want to support all those devices, all of them, because that's a significant market. These people understand crypto and they kind of feel they were let down by that project. So yeah, we do want to welcome them with open arms, but we also want to get the broader LoRaWAN community, and it shouldn't be restricted just to those manufacturers. Like I recommended for whether it's right or wrong, in the beginning to Milan and the team, I said we should not support the MXC devices. Those things are a colossal disaster. The hardware sucks. They're we already know that they're going to try to lock them down, but he said we're going to do it. Okay, so I as always, when the boss makes a decision, I support him. And I've made videos on it. I've tried to help people with this as much as possible, and it's been a cat and mouse game, but they are doubling down into it and supporting people who, we already know how MXC turned out, those Mac checks. But they're continuing to support this project. So once again, I can't say anything bad about it. Has it been a time sink? Yes, it's been a pain in the butt, but I think the community, there's frustration there because it's hard to onboard. It's hard to get around the way they've been locking these devices. But in a sense, there's an appreciation there for all the time and effort on behalf of everyone. The other thing I wanted to talk, so be sure to look at announcements, go discuss in the Discord. If you have a gateway that is not on the supported devices list, even if it's a generic LoRaWAN one, because this project is not just about crypto. It's not just about, just not LoRaWAN. We'll get into the other aspects that talking about. We've also talked about that on other videos, but there is a broader LoRaWAN market that when they've seen many of these projects, hit the news, they're like, this is interesting. This is a global network. We can use this. But when they start digging and they see some of the issues, we'll just leave it at issues. They say, I don't think this is going to work. I mean, we can't use this. It's not feasible because we can't depend on it. And that was in regards to the other two projects there. Everyone knows who I'm talking about, but one of them being MXC and, Helium. Okay. I'm not like, I don't want people to get confused. There's really two good projects here. Crankk and Things IX is great as well. And most people over in the European area, especially, are dual mining on them using the Crankk software. So, like I said, kudos to both projects. But the whole point of this is, yeah, we should be using generic LoRaWAN routers, your MikroTik or your Cisco or Dragino. If it's I don't want to confuse like full and light gateways, but you have to use the one with the full channel plan, right? Because some of them are just minimal channel plans that you don't have all 8 channels. Anyway, the point being there. What was I saying? Yeah, so they're trying to actually make this feasible for all the individuals who are LoRaWAN professionals and IoT professionals to utilize these gateways, even if they don't want to be involved in crypto. They can route through the Crankk network, and they can pay a subscription to grab that data and have it routed to their LoRaWAN. Their, I guess, what do you call it? Chirp stack instance. So that's another big development. That's I will say I've tested the data transfer. It works. Are there some things that can be ironed out? Yeah, that's a very hard one to nail down, but I'm pretty excited to see how well it worked thus far. And I've provided the resources that I can to the Crankk team to help them with this. And I'm I think it's going to turn out well. Now, there's one thing I wanted to mention, that this is not like some people, like there's this propagandist out there just to rip off of the other projects. This is nothing original. Well, I've seen some videos from Peter. I actually forgot about this because I did a real deep dive 2 years ago when Crankk first hit the scene. I looked into Peter and his background and poked around on the web, and he does have a YouTube channel. Turns out a lot of his videos are on unlisted, but there are videos from like 7 years ago of him demoing this stuff and him working with LoRaWAN devices before any of these other projects ever hit the scene. He was working on this stuff. And what came full circle to me, he sent me a couple of ones that were uploaded like 5, 6, 7 years ago. So that's like proof to me that yeah, he's been working on this for a while. But what made me like put that all together is because when I first started talking to him, I spoke to him on the phone a few times. I spoke to Milan on the phone a few times, and I said, Milan, he really had to open up, show me behind the curtain to convince me to be an ambassador here, which he did. And I was like, where are they getting all these ideas from? Because I've never heard some of the stuff that they're proposing, and this is really good. This is better than anything I've come up with. And yeah, like most of my background. I've been a network engineer for 11 years now, and I was involved in some of the other systems a lot with crypto, and I just I was like, wow, I'm really amazed at this because this is definitely something that I wouldn't have thought of. And I always said they really thought outside the box somehow. Well, it's because it's original ideas. Like I said before, this is, yeah, do they go back and look at the notes of a lot of these OG developers, the community developers that were involved in Helium, and they seen how, they planned out the routing and the blockchain transactions. They looked at a lot of the gaming, and now they're comparing and contrasting notes and testing these methods. And I just want to mention, Chris and I did do a test of gaming the network. And oh my God, how long did it take for our ranks to recover on the gateways?
It
It
took
worked.
like
I
at
mean,
least a month.
we were able to game the system for about an hour, made a extra couple cents, and then the Crankk rank just absolutely tanked on both of the gateways. Actually, three of them that we were using. It was, so there's a lot of good stuff going on. I'm confident, and there's like a couple propagandists out there. They don't have anything nice to say about any of the projects in decentralized wireless, and some people want to stick their hands in any deepened project. Um, hey, I don't know. Like I always say, I appreciate the trolls. They always giving us a shout out. And when you hate on someone for long enough, you might brainwash a couple of your buddies there into believing what you say. But a lot of these people go, "Oh, what's going on over there? Let's go see the spectacle for ourselves." Oh, it's these people are angry and they have a vendetta. Like, there's been so many people who have opened their eyes to seeing, like, get off the tangent now. I have a couple people in the audience. I don't know. Should we do it? To be or
uh,
not to be? No,
no, I don't want to
we're
talk about
going
that.
we're going to pause because we have a special guest joining us. I'm not sure if he's going to turn on his webcam. I think he's joining from a phone, but we'd like to welcome Milen to the stage, the COO of Crankk. Milen, welcome.
Hello everyone. I just calling from the. I'm joining to the stream from the dinner. I'm still on the table, just to cheer you guys that you're doing in everything in the way that you are. Because in Crank we never ask the YouTubers or influencers or ambassadors to promote or do anything else. Just I'm listening what you're saying, and everything is clear and. Through what we're doing, and about the ranking, because it's very interesting topic that no one else solved it till now, and Crank is the first one that aim to achieve the goal. The ranking on Crank, the ranking system, it's absolutely very easy to be understand. It's based on the unique data LoRa packages. It's nothing more. It's just pure RF how it's working, and how Peter and the team understands the lore and the RF from years of experience that they have it, because you earlier mentioned about Peter 7 8 years ago with his videos on YouTube on his channel. But Peter, it's a SaaS engineer from 1998, and he developed sub products before SAP even on IBM OneFrame. And Peter is mass database engineer, and the team, the expertise that we have it, and everything that we collected, because as a community project, we're just looking the other projects, we're checking the community, we're communicate with the community. This is the main idea of the ambassadors of Crankk, where we have 36 or 38 ambassadors. They need to collect the feedback, because we can't know exactly in real life all issues that people have it in, let's say, in Turkey or Bulgaria or UK or Ireland or USA. In different places, different parts of the world, different issues. And yeah, I know that we're not the building the fastest the community would like to have everything ready and to be used. But for the last 2 years, what we achieved already, it's no one ever on the market. On other projects, they have a partnerships with 30 manufacturers, and the manufacturers need to build the entire operating system, the everything to be work fine, and monitoring to control them, to maintain the servers, the support. This is 30 plus companies with huge amount of employees. In Crankk, we need to reverse engineering all these hardwares to provide us operating system properly working for these hardwares, and after that we need to monitor all these different kind of hardware and to provide the proper updates and solutions for this hardware for the future scalability. And this is a huge pain. It's absolutely not easy, and today we place an announcement as well that everyone who provide a step-by-step explanation guides how to add to onboard a gateway, LoRa gateway that is not provided on Crankk and is not on the list of Crankk, he will be rewarded. Like for the do-it-yourself gateways, we are giving 150. We are giving license, Crankk license, and $100. For the full gateways, we are giving one license, and for the light gateways, we are giving $100 in Crankk tokens. This it's our approach to the community. Not everyone can participate to onboard any kind of LoRa gateway. If he has a Raspberry P3 or Pico or any other ESP, and he can provide step-by-step information and pictures how the community to build their own do-it-yourself gateways and config files, everyone is welcome to do it, and we give them as everything as we can do for them, just to help to the community. This is our main focus as the ranking system. It's built around the community feedback and the entire Crankk OS, that it's fully root accessible. And now we're working to implement all this one-click solution installation for different projects, because this for the community is not about Crankk to make profit. No, the Crankk OS and Crankk image, it's free to use. We're not charging, and we do not have control over the operating system. You're the only one solely you have control, and you can use it your own gateway for much more than to doing one thing. Or it and the bigger issue, most of the users that coming to us ask by themselves about the Crankk OS and Crankk image to solve their issues in different projects, because different projects, the other projects, they do not provide support, or the companies left the project, or their operating system is too old, or the firmware. Because our one with all custom solutions provide the unique experience with the local dashboard, the information. It's so much. Sometimes I feel bad to speak and to talk what we've done it till now, because sometimes it look like, no, this guy just lying. This is not possible for these 2 years to build all these custom softwares. And 2 years ago, when when I met Peter, we was two guys that let's say I joined to the Crankk, but now we're 26 for the last right now 2 years after that, we're 26 team members. Crankk is just moving forward, but it's against the hype, against the trend, because it's a decentralized physical network infrastructure. This means you need first to provide the solution, then to promote it and to connect with the business and the customers. If we just jump on the hype on the fast track to ride the train without the solution, we already saw with this in different projects. And
Well,
to mark,
if
yeah,
if I may comment on that, I get
yes,
what you're saying about, some people don't believe it until they truly see it. But let's not forget there was another project that Rug pulled a while back that was into the decentralized wireless space there in CBRS, and yeah, they had venture capital funding. They had professionals that they were able to develop way faster than what the majority of the community in this space is used to. Now, I won't mention them. They rug pulled. They were scumbags. But the whole point is that they showed people what could be done, and they had all the resources in the world, and they kind of stuck their boot in the butts of a few other projects who weren't producing on their promises. The point being here is Crankk is running at full pace with they don't have the venture capital behind them. They don't have unlimited resources, but always producing on promises and always doing a good job at it. So that's my 2 cents. I'm not sure if Milan is speaking because he's muted now. But yeah, if there's anything you'd like to say, because Milan likes to talk a lot. So
as I said, I am on the table and I just finished the dinner. Sorry about that. This is our main approach to build the product. I know that it's very risky that we're focused on the building without venture capitals, without funds, but Crankk, it's very stable. Every day it's onboarded 2025 average new gateways on Crankk network. And this is absolutely enough. We're very organized and strict about the plan and our expenses. We're not chasing any VC funds. We have zero communication from our side. Yeah, a lot of approach us, but we never approach other VC funds or chasing capitals because we would like first to provide the software and to have it everything in place all in one, the cloud infrastructure, the roaming, the routing, everything that we already have it from day one, because Crankk is built around the chip stack. And once the product is ready and the solutions are in place, we would like to go to say to the partners, this is our product, you're very welcome to use it. And the time that we invest in to build all this for the market, it's based on the feedback. Step by step, we provide one of the solution, we collect the feedback, and after that, go back and change it in the way that need to be done it. You know that in our software ecosystem, we have the internal alpha, the public beta, and the stable version. To move to a stable version, this is 3 more stages that we need to test for all these kind of devices, different hardwares. As you know, the story around the Bobcat, we provided the Crank OS reverse engineered especially for based on all Bobcats. But day by day, they pop up different Bobcats that no one know about that. It's with different chipset inside, with different components, because at one point, all the manufacturers put in the gateways what they have it on the shelves. And we understand this in months after we develop this and that, but it's not about the Crank solutions, Crank OS or Crank image. It's about the different components that they use it on use it on some of their gateways, and they're really low and cheap components.
I have to say,
yeah.
I really appreciate the reverse engineering work that the Crank team has done. It's been tremendous, and it's been there's always road bumps in the initial releases, but it's been as stable as you can with the initial release. I mean, and you've been very proactive and very responsive to the community when they have issues. And the only issue, the only complaints I sometimes see is like, oh, they're not getting back to my ticket fast enough. But then you put out, one of these blanket firmware pushes, and it just resolves all the tickets. Everyone says, okay, my stuff's back online. They were working on the larger solution than fixing every individual issue, which is something I always tell people. Just wait, just give it a couple days. They're either going to get back to your ticket or it's going to be fixed. So the operations are great. I see a lot of grievances from some people. It's not open source. I can't see. I have to say to them, look, just because the code isn't posted on a GitHub for you neatly for you to pick apart doesn't mean it's not open source. I give them the instructions and say, hey, download the firmware to a Raspberry Pi and look at the packed agent yourself. If you can't figure this out by yourself with the instructions I've given you, then you're not really the person to talk about what is and what isn't. I hate to say it, but some of the people that I thought much more highly of at one point, are they plain ignorant, or is it just they've been that ignorant the whole time? I'm not sure, but Milan, thank you for coming on. Really
Joe, you know that people that pointing us that we do not have the LoRa network or LoRa connectivity, and we do not have open source software. First of all, the biggest supplier of the other network, Bobcat, they never released open source image or open source OS. Most of others, they never release it. And our own solutions that we're building is not a final product. We can't release as open source code for our own solutions that people would like to have it, and they try to reach to these solutions. We do not like now to share because we're only one that we're doing this. We're investing the money and from the community that they believe in us, and if we share our solutions right now, everyone can use it immediately. But till now, no one else reverse engineered all Bobcats without blueprint. No one else built a custom multiplexer and custom packet forward, especially for the LoRa crypto projects that the community asks, look, I would like my one to be 10 milliseconds faster. But in reality, this is not the issue for the IoT and for the LoRa. But because of the other project, they built something against the multiplexer, we need to deliver it. And this costs thousands of dollars and weeks of hard work. And we can't just give it the code. You understand?
Milan,
this intellectual property. And
I understand.
Yes.
But I do want to get to a question that is in the chat that I think you can appreciate. It's from 100 Air. He writes, do the Crankk guys look at off-the-shelf items like the ones from Seed Studio?
Yes, of course. We already have it. We have M4 and M2 already on the table. But because of too much updates lately, I know that the community do not see it in the user side, but in the back end, all these changes that we're doing every day about the cloud infrastructure, about the smart contract, people first need to understand what Crankk aim to achieve in 2025. Absolutely automated business plan, company project, how you would like to call it. Because Crankk is laying down 100. Crankk it's have two separate parts: centralized and decentralized. The centralized part is the LoRa connectivity and the IoT connectivity, because Crankk will provide not only LoRa but Wi-Fi and Bluetooth IoT connectivity. And the decentralized part is the smart contract on the blockchain. Everything on Crankk is absolutely on chain. Not only the transactions, the beaconing, the witnessing, but the affiliate system, the DEX, the entire communication, everything is on chain. Right now, I'm on this live stream, and I don't need to check the team. I don't need to check the blockchain or our network, because everything is automated by the smart contract. And this is the entire idea of Crankk. Once everything is done by the decentralized part and it's on centralized part, the voting system will be the only one way Crankk to move forward, because the community will decide what need to be implemented and what need to be discontinued, because community start the voting. Each community member on the network can start the voting process. It will be described the way how it need to be done in Tester. Yes, of course, proposal like make double the amount of the tokens or something like this can't be changed, but everything around the base and mid level of the project and not financial side as the tokenomics can be changed, because we believe that not everyone have the financial understanding how the crypto world is working. Yes, you can propose the burning process, or you can propose fees or taxes. This is not a problem. It's possible to be implemented.
It's going to be very exciting when we get to the stage where the governance table is opened up and the voting system. We have all these proposals. There's going to be a lot of discussion that I foresee, because there's a lot of people who are already talking about their ideas. They're just waiting for the voting system to open up. We're going to have Crankk improvement proposals out the ears. But there's another question in the chat. I'm going to hand this off to you to discuss and I'll be right back. But
Okay.
Jacob Johnson writes, any major partnerships planned for the future?
Of course, we have it already with some of them, but as always, we say it, we never hyped around the partnerships, and we never placed before it's happening, before everything it's publicly placed. If we say what we are doing now, and this is not done in a specific time frame, after that we need to collect the bad feedback, the blame on us that you didn't deliver. But in the partnerships, it's two sides, it's two gentlemen. Sometimes they are not two gentlemen. Everyone chasing this and that, and we need to see how it's working. And yes, we have a lot in the table, but we will not announce and we will not share before everything was being done. Yes, the biggest project that we are working now, it's hip Crankk, and sooner or later we'll share what is hip Crankk.
Looking forward to hearing about that.
So, Milan, I appreciate you joining. I think we're going to wrap up the stream before we allow this to run too long. But there are a couple updates coming down the pipes. We are going to see Oracle nodes soon. So, people, in my opinion,
in Q2, the Oracle nodes, it's something huge. We never talk publicly about them, but it's something really huge as a network, because this will be like a third-party verification, like a escrow service, and a lot will be handled by the Oracle nodes.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's going to be two types of Oracle nodes, or has that changed?
Yes, it's a different level of the Oracle nodes, and I can't share what they will do it, because it's not something that is publicly available. But the Oracle node, it's already working for the last 11 months. The Oracle node control the DEX by the smart contract, and it's proven that it's zero issues, zero breakdowns, zero downtime. And the entire idea of the Oracle nodes, we can provide, let's say, on the LoRa side. If the business, the enterprise solution would like to have a 100% verified data, Oracle nodes can confirm this data. Is it true? Is it real? And then we can deliver to the enterprise partner the confirmed data from the Oracle nodes, not just to transfer the data.
So I appreciate you sharing with that. I want to say to MC, thank you for the super chat. Milan, as always, thank you for being here, and thank you for all the work you do for the Crankk community. Viewers, I appreciate all of you who are watching. I'm going to say one thing before everyone signs off. We are going to raid one of my good friend's streams. He's about to have a massive stream. I'm going to leave the link in the description. He'll be on there with your friend Andy, Mining Chamber, and Seb's FinTech. I want you to go in there, all of you, and just start writing Crankk in all capital letters. Raid his stream. I would recommend watching. That's about what I'm going to go do, is watch this stream, because it's going to be a good one. Geek of All Trades, he's tremendous. He's a Crankster. He appreciates Crankk. So go over to Geek of All Trades and light that chat up with Crankk. So your friend Andy and Seb's FinTech and Mining Chamber can know about the greatness of the Crankk network. Milan, thank you for joining us. Chris,
always
thanks for letting us. Yeah.
Thank you very much, guys, and I wish all the best. And really apologize that I didn't plan properly to join to the stream.
Okay.
And next week, just to share with you, will be the Crankk interview with Cadena. Something huge coming, but next week will be shared. Me and Peter was interviewed by Cadena. and next week Cadena will start their marketing campaign about that.
Awesome.
All right. And just a reminder for everyone, we are doing this on Chris's stream from here on out. So we'll do it's every other Sunday. So the next live stream that we'll do for Crankk will be on Sunday the 24th. And I recommend joining Chris's stream. I'll still broadcast it from my channel, but that'll be the last time we broadcast it from my channel. So if you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe to Chris. And let's do that raid. I left the link in the chat. We're gonna go over there, hype it up, and like I said, I recommend listening. Those guys are outstanding. They're good and deep and proof of work. So with all that, Chris,
Hope everyone has a great day, and we'll see you over there.
let's do it. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.